Hello everyone, welcome back once again. In the latest episode of the series, we hit level 40, and upon returning to Orgrimmar, we notice a new quest has been added to our map, the Call for Allies. Heading that way, we learn that we are now given access to the quests that will unlock the allied races. What are allied races, you may ask? They are new playable races that were originally added into the game during Battle for Azeroth that are unlocked for your account after completion of a short questline for each different allied race. This was mentioned in the first episode, but the Horde and Alliance both have their own set of allied races, and each one comes with an associated achievement for unlocking it for your account. The exception of that is the Earthen allied race, which was added just recently in the War Within expansion, and for whatever reason was not given an achievement for it. We'll be coming back for this before too long, but this is just one of the many goals we have, because just in case you haven't heard, this is Dave. And I am also Dave. We're trying to collect every last achievement that World of Warcraft has to offer, and boy, is there a lot of them. We're taking this one step at a time and taking on any challenges that come our way head on. We'll travel through the whole of Azeroth about 1,000 times over, and even some beyond that, while documenting all our progress along the way. This journey is going to be a timely one, full of long grinds, frustrating content, and I imagine a ton of roadblocks that I'm not expecting. That about sums it up. Thanks all for stopping by, and welcome to the Achieve A Lot series. Jumping back into our classic zone questing, these next few zones are honestly not that exciting, bringing nothing to the table besides the usual achievements and a few battle pets. That being said, our next trip is going to bring us to the Stonetalon Mountains. While the Stonetalon Mountains is home to about 10 different battle pets, the only unique battle pets in the zone are the Coral Snake and the Venom Spitter Hatchling, both found in the wild of the zone, which will be our primary goal besides questing here. Other than that, there really isn't much to say. There isn't even a dungeon in this zone to talk about, so let's get right into it. The questing in Stonetalon Mountains has an overarching theme where your character begins as a lowly grunt in a section of the Horde's army led by Overlord Cromgar. As you progress throughout the zone, you move up in ranks of said army, taking on more and more important missions for Cromgar. There's a trend in these early zones at this point, but it's mostly Horde versus Alliance storytelling, so once again, nothing too noteworthy overall. But there are definitely a few highlights in the questing for this zone, but we'll come to those in just a bit. Before we get too deep in the questing, we grind out a few pet battles to make sure our battle pets keep up in levels, and while doing so, earn our first achievement of the episode, Win Streak, for winning 25 consecutive pet battles. Jumping into the questing, as I mentioned before, we start off on a relatively small scale by taking care of some Alliance military members while burning down their campsites and taking out their marshal along the way. We then make our way back up to the Cromgar Fortress to turn in our first handful of quests, and in doing so, we earn our first achievement in the reputation category, Somebody Likes Me. We earn this achievement by reaching Exalted status with the faction's reputation. Like many other Horde players before us, we reached Exalted status with Orgrimmar as our first maxed out reputation. Moving up the ranks in the quest series, our next set of quests takes us into the mines beneath the fortress to take care of some rampant elementals and to save the workers who are trapped within. And once again, we are given another achievement upon turning these in. This time, we're met with a belt variation of the Fashionista achievement for earning 100 unique belt appearances. Afterwards, we make a quick detour to face off against Zonya the Sadist, the pet battle tamer of the zone. The tamers are still pretty simple at this point, so as long as you have relatively leveled pets, there isn't much strategy needed for them, so once again, we clear this with ease. During our search for the unique battle pets of the zone, we actually come across a rare quality rabbit pet in the wild, who is not unique to the zone, but we do take a minute to capture it anyways, so we don't need to hunt for it later. The reason we're only looking for the unique pets for now is that the pets that are not unique to the zone are found at a much higher level in the later zones, and ultimately we'll save time leveling pets down the road if we just capture them at a higher level from the start. But as I said previously, there is also an achievement for capturing rare quality battle pets, so if we see one, we're going to be grabbing it. I believe this is the first time this has happened so far, but when it does happen, we'll be referring to them as bonus pets to notate that they were not a pet we were specifically looking for. And it's actually a good thing I just ran through all that, because almost immediately afterwards, we come across another bonus pet opportunity. This time for the cute little mechanical squirrel, the Rabid Nut Varmint 5000. A quick snag, and we have just saved ourselves some amount of time somewhere down the road. Apparently our luck was just going crazy here, as once again, almost directly afterwards, we came across yet another rare quality pet that we did not have. This time being the Alpine Chipmunk, a significantly less mechanical version of the RNV 5000 that we just picked up. Another quick capture and another pet added to our collection. So obviously there is a bit of editing magic between these segments to cut out the boring stuff, but I'm not joking when I say yet again, very shortly afterwards, we come across a fourth rare quality battle pet to capture. I'm not exaggerating when I say between these clips, I probably checked 2 battle pet spawns that did not have a rare pet, so we really did find 4 rare quality pets in about 6 checks. And we didn't even come across any duplicates, each one was a new pet that we haven't collected yet. I'm not 100% sure of the chance of the quality being rare, but it seems fairly uncommon, so this is a nice bit of luck. And for this last one, the Venom Spitter Hatchling, it is actually one of the unique pets for the zone, so this was doubly nice to see so fast. Anyways, one final capture for the time being, and the spider is ours. And along with this capture comes the Experienced Pet Battler achievement for winning a total of 50 pet battles. This achievement is actually part of a chain that ends with the Legendary Pet Battler achievement, which is earned by winning 5,000 pet battles. I'm not sure if this is something that will come naturally while going for all the other pet battle achievements or not, but this is another very, very long-term goal for the account. Back to a bit of questing, we clear out a mine full of kobold while collecting some resources and also take care of a camp that has been run over by some Grim Totem Tauren. We then head back to Kromgar Fortress, where Overlord Kromgar gives us another new rank in his army, the rank of Champion. He then sends us to the Sludgeworks area of the zone to work with some goblins. They send us out to take care of some Windriders in the area, and upon returning to the base and turning in said quest, we receive the 500 quests completed achievement. I haven't mentioned it before, but this series of quests is also a chain that ends with a 3000 quests completed achievement. But considering we are a whole 4 zones into the game and we've already completed 500, I know for a fact this one will not take us very long at all. I'm honestly surprised they haven't made like a 10,000 quest version of this or even more at this point, but whatever, it's easier for us. Something worth noting that I've been doing in the background of this journey so far is trying to keep an eye out for fishing pools throughout the world. There are 2 different achievements for catching a collective 73 different types of fish, and I'm not sure how many of those 73 will come from fishing pools versus just fishing in whatever areas, but I'm going to try to catch as many as I can during the questing to cut down on as much fishing time as possible later. This also of course helps us work towards getting the fishing skill point achievements for the classic zones as well. As the questing begins heating up in the zone, we receive word from General Grebo to head to Cliffwalker Post and meet with him. He then tells us that he has intel that the Night Elves in the valley below are harboring a weapon of mass destruction. However, High Chieftain Cliffwalker, the Tauren chieftain of Cliffwalker Post, doesn't believe it. He claims that the ancient tree has been a place of peaceful druidism for generations for all, regardless of political allegiance. He tells us that he has sent his son, Orthus, to the grove to check on the happenings and that we are to go check in with him. Upon arrival to the grove, we find that Orthus and many other druids have had their lifeless bodies dragged into the tree's overlooking room, and upon further inspection, we find within Orthus's dying grasp a Kromgar general's insignia. When we return to Cliffwalker Post and inform the chieftain of what we have found, he confronts the general for his actions, and in response, Grebo attacks the chieftain, and we put an end to him. The chieftain then tells us to return to Overlord Kromgar and tell him what has happened. Kromgar, of course, is not happy and puts the blame all on the chieftain, calling his actions treasonous to the highest degree. He then promotes us to general to fill in Grebo's shoes. We then head back to Cliffwalker Post to find that the chieftain's wife has been killed by Kromgar's forces, and that Kromgar has detained the chieftain. He then explains that he will be forcing him to bear witness to the destruction of the grove that he has loved so much. He then sends the device attached to the hot air balloon down to the grove to destroy it in a fiery blaze. And with my draw distance settings as low as they were, I could barely witness it myself. This visual cut isn't even my editing, this is just how it looks in game. That being said, with the grove destroyed, we are met with a surprise visit with the current war chief of the Horde, Garrosh Hellscream himself. Garrosh begins aggressively questioning Kromgar's actions. Kromgar of course explains that he was simply carrying out orders, the classic excuse. Garrosh explains that his order was to take the land for the Horde, and instead Kromgar has laid waste to the land and ended countless innocents and children in its place. Seeing Kromgar's dishonorable actions, Garrosh relieves him of his duty and drops him over the edge of the cliff to his demise, a whopping 10-foot drop down below. Garrosh then turns to us, but the chieftain defends us, explaining we were a part in uncovering this corruption. Garrosh is astounded by his compassion and leaves us be. You know, this Garrosh guy seems like a real stand-up dude. A real ship-shape leader, super honorable. I really can't wait to see where he leads the Horde in the future. Anyways, we turn in the final quest of the zone, and the Stonetalon Mountains quest achievement is ours. You may have noticed in the chat box, but during the last few quests there, we did a quick flyover of the zone and also grabbed the Explorer achievement. All that's left in this zone is to find the one rare quality battle pet that we haven't come across yet, the coral snake. We spent a bit flying around the zone looking for spawns of them, but we actually ended up finding one as a backup pet to a venom spitter hatchling encounter, pretty early on. We capture it, and thus the Stonetalon Mountains are complete. During the grind for the rare coral snake that was about 30 minutes for me and about 5 seconds for you guys, we also came across a rare quality normal rat pet, so bonus pet moment first of all. But even bigger than a rare rat is the 3 separate achievements we earned from this fight. Our cheetah cub reached level 10 from the experience gained, earning us the growing up achievement for being our first pet to reach level 10. The rat was also our 25th pet caught on the account, earning us the plethora of pets achievement. And those 2 achievements pushed us over the 100 battle pet achievement points threshold, also earning us trainer extraordinaire. Before we head into our next zone, we make a brief detour to Stranglethorn Vale to grab some cooking recipes to make some use out of our stockpile of cooking reagents that we've been neglecting. While waiting for the Zeppelin back to Orgrimmar, we cook some materials up and then cook through even more upon our return to the city. We end with our classic cooking skill well into the 200s, which gets us quite a ways to our goal of achieving the max in this section of the profession, which in the classic version of professions is 300. It does obviously get harder to get the materials for recipes the higher up we go, but we are well on our way with plenty of zones to get through still. That being said, let's jump into our next zone, and let me tell you, it's not a very exciting one. Our next zone we're heading to is Desolace, and as the name suggests, is a very desolate landscape with not a lot going on in it. However, coincidentally, there are a few things we need to mention before jumping in. Desolace is home to only one unique battle pet, and it's our first battle pet to have a specific spawn condition. The one unique pet of the zone is the stone armadillo, and this battle pet only spawns at night. What exactly the time frame is seems to be undetermined by online commenters, but we'll get into the specifics here in a bit. Desolace is also home to the Maraudon dungeon, so we'll be clearing that one out while we're here in the zone for its respective achievement. Lastly, something we haven't had to touch on quite yet, is that Desolace is our first zone to introduce reputations we need to work on. The main faction being introduced here is the Cenarian Circle, which is half of the requirements for the Guardian of Cenarius achievement. Now, there isn't a way to grind out the full reputation within Desolace, but it is still worth noting that this is the introduction to the faction, and we'll get to a spot where we can grind reputation for them in a later zone. There are also 2 additional factions that are met within the zone, but are not tied to any achievements, the 2 Centaur clans, the Gelkis and the Magrum, each with their own reputation bars, but these are one and done within the zone, so not much to say on these otherwise. That's about all there is, so let's get into it. Starting off the zone, right as we make our way to our first quest destination, we notice that the stone armadillo spawns are on our minimap, meaning that by chance, we're actually playing during the appropriate time frame for their spawns. Which plays quite into our favor since, as I just mentioned, no one online really seems to know exactly what time is considered night for the pet spawns, and I was really not trying to jump on WoW at 3 AM just to catch a battle pet. That being said, we begin our hunt for a rare quality armadillo, but before we find that, we do come across a rare quality red-tailed chipmunk and add our first bonus pet of the zone to our collection. We resume our questing, and fittingly enough for the overall theme of the zone, the questing here is pretty underwhelming for the most part. But there is this fun quest where you turn into a fire tornado and run rampant through some ruins, melting everything in sight. I know some people think the scripted path vehicle quests in WoW are boring and lazy, but I honestly love just ripping through enemies like these. The only other nice thing about the questing in this zone is that most of the early quests are really beast focused, so we were able to gain quite a bit of skinning skill points here as well. We're pushing about 280 at this point, and our goal is once again 300 for the classic zones, so we're getting close. After turning in these first few quest lines and selling some gear we've picked up, we do earn another Fashionista achievement, this time for the head slot. Our next bit of questing has us taking out some members of the Burning Blade cult to then take out a demon they've been attempting to summon. Afterwards, we then get sent back out to do more population control of the local wildlife, and while doing so, we hit our skinning profession goal of 300. At this point, we are still well behind on our leatherworking profession, so we'll continue to collect materials for that as normal, and we'll probably end up doing a dedicated grind to get leatherworking to 300 somewhere down the line, as we do need to get our second profession maxed out in the classic category as well to earn the working from the start achievement. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, watching this back, I'm trying really hard to find things to talk about during the questing in this zone and not have it be as boring to watch as it was to play through, but get this. We come to this questline where you get turned into a Naga to infiltrate this cult off the coast where you do some quests in disguise for the Priestess of Ashara. Pretty cool concept, right? Well, the only issue is all of the quests they have you do are 100% underwater with barely any swim speed increase. And these objectives are not only not nearby the quest giver, they are very, very far apart from each other, which is super disappointing because the section that could have been very interesting and is pretty cool from a lore perspective, to be honest, is just ruined by the super slow snail's pace of gameplay they make you go through. I just can't win with this zone. As we get about halfway through the questing in Desolace, we come to Carnum's Glade, which is where we are introduced to the druids of the Cenarian Circle mentioned before. While we cannot grind reputation for the faction in this zone through means of daily quests or item farming, we do get a solid amount of progress for the faction through the quests in this area. While we're here, we also take on the Battle Pet Tamer of the zone, which once again, we defeat simply by being reasonably leveled for the fight. Don't worry though, these do ramp up in difficulty in just a few zones, so this will get a bit more interesting shortly. After a bit more questing and a handful of armadillos checked, we do come across our rare quality armadillo, and in turn acquire our one unique pet of the zone. After a bit more questing, we come across these Night Elf ruins that also happen to be where our very first archaeology spot is at. I've explained it in a previous episode when we picked up the profession, but the main gimmick about archaeology is that it's more or less a hot and cold minigame where you collect fragments of artifacts from different races throughout WoW's history, and you use those fragments to create different artifacts. Each time you make progress within a dig site by pinpointing the location it points you towards, you receive about 6 to 10 artifact fragments. A common quality artifact usually takes between 30 to 50 fragments to complete, and rare artifacts are usually at least 100 fragments. It's random which artifact you are working towards, and once you complete one, it is then rerolled to determine what you'll be working towards next. Rare artifacts are what we're really after, as those are how you receive the unlockable mounts, toys, and battle pets. The common artifacts are still desirable as there are achievements for making so many of them, but for the most part, the achievements in this category will come from getting specific rare artifacts. And once we reach the Mist of Pandaria zones, this system gets a bit overhauled, but we'll talk about that once we get there. Just know that for now, we will be completing these dig sites while we come across them, and at some point down the way, there will be a substantial dedicated grind for archaeology, as there is a lot of randomness when it comes to this profession. Before we complete our last few objectives of the zone, upon turning in another quest, we also happen to gain yet another fashionista achievement. This time around, we earned the wrist slot one. While we complete the last few quests of the zone, we make our way to the far southeast corner of the map, and being the last area we have yet to explore, we earn ourselves the Explore Desolace achievement. As we wrap up the zone, you may be wondering when the 2 Centaur clan reputations are going to come into play that I mentioned earlier. Well, back in the pre-Cataclysm days, this was quite a reputation grind, where one clan's rep would go up while the other declined, and it was overall not especially fun from what I've heard. But nowadays, upon defeating this pit lord and turning in the final quest of the zone, you are instantly awarded 40,000 reputation with both Centaur clans, reaching exalted status with both of them immediately. When I said these were one and done factions, I really wasn't kidding. And on that note, we turn in the final quest, and the Desolace quest achievement is also ours. That, of course, only leaves us one thing left to do. We've got to clear out the Maraudon dungeon. This is one of the longest dungeons from Classic WoW, and is still one of the longest dungeons in the game to this date. It's so long, in fact, that when you used to be able to use the Looking for Dungeon tool to complete it, it was split into 3 different instances. Which isn't really surprising, as completing the full dungeon at level or to scale would probably take close to an hour at minimum. Even just running through it, one-shotting everything like we do, still takes a good 10 to 15 minutes depending on how much you do. Anyways, after this long, drawn-out dungeon, we one-shot Princess Theradris and the achievement is ours, and in turn, another zone has been fully completed. And now, time to bring everyone up to speed on our current achievement point total for the account. According to the end of the last episode, we should have began this one with a total of 695 achievement points. However, because of the Trainer Extraordinaire achievement unlocking at 100 points in the Pet Battle category, I figured out that we were actually undershooting our Battle Pet achievement point total by quite a bit, which led me to wonder if I had anything else off, and it turns out I totally messed up these numbers at some point. So after an official recount, we are starting today with 715 achievement points on the account. That being said, let's see how much progress we've made up to this point. In this episode, we earned 3 achievements in the Collections category for a total of 15 points, just 1 achievement in the Dungeons and Raid category for 10 points, 2 achievements in the Exploration category for a total of 20 points, we earned 5 achievements in the Battle Pet category for an additional 35 points, another 1 achievement in the Professions category for 10 points, 3 achievements in the Quests category for a total of 30 points, and we also earned our very first achievement in the Reputations category for another 10 points, earning a total of 130 achievement points this episode, bringing our new total to 845 for the account. You can see the totals for each category listed above. We are slowly getting caught up to where the account is in real time, and when that happens, I'll be able to make a few upgrades to the episodes and the channel that I'm going to keep under wraps for now, but I'm pretty excited about. It probably won't be for another handful of episodes, but we're working on it in due time. As always, for watching to the end, everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for the next one, and please leave a comment as well if you'd like. Reading the comments is one of my favorite parts of this project, and I really do read every single one, and they mean a lot to me. The support I've received on this project so far has been incredible, so thank you all for that too. But that's going to be it for this one. We'll see you in the next one, and I hope you all have a wonderful life. Peace out.